makes me slightly ashamed to be a Toyota owner.
It does shock me from Toyota.
Toyota slammed by Greenpeace, ranked dead last on electrification. How did Toyota end up so far behind on electric vehicles? Toyota ranks last in Global Green Car Report, accused of anti-climate lobbying. There's literally hundreds of headlines like this, and Toyota have also become public enemy number one in the Tesla circles I had a peek in. So you have to ask, why are they doing this? Is it because Toyota is being run by evil anti-climate conspiracy theorists? Well, no. It's because Toyota is a Japanese company, and electrification through batteries would be an utter disaster for Japan. Let me explain. Japan's geostrategic struggles ever since Japan's industrialization almost 200 years ago can be traced to their almost complete reliance on others for energy. Even as early as the 1860s and 70s, they were already a major importer of iron and kerosene. By the time of the Great Depression in 1930, they were importing 37 million yen worth of coal and exporting only 26 million. 10 years later, they were importing 147 million yen worth of coal and 350 million yen worth of petroleum. And with a shortage of other raw materials, a rise in population, and a rise in protectionist trade policies around the world, it's very often cited as the main driver for Japan's colonization of Manchuria, Indochina, and beyond. After World War II, Japan was still entirely dependent on other nations for fossil fuels. When the OPEC oil crisis happened in 1973, Japan was importing 90% of its oil from the Middle East and only had a stockpile for 55 days and about 20 days supply en route. They were certainly one of the most affected developed nations. This is why they so heavily invested in nuclear energy, but for transportation especially, they remained heavily reliant on others. During the 1980s and 90s, they invested a huge amount of money into China to develop coal and mining operations over there, and today in the post-Fukushima, post-Ukraine invasion world, their energy security is more precarious than ever. Even their Western friends are very unreliable. Japan, for example, is hugely reliant on Australian gas, and thus when successive Australian governments have been trying to cut down on gas extraction and exports in an attempt to eventually reach net zero, the Japanese saw it as an existential threat. They threatened Australia recently by suggesting they'll instead buy gas from Russia and Iran. So as we can determine, energy insecurity has been Japan's Achilles heel since time immemorial, and if their car industry was to switch over to battery-powered automobiles, with their biggest geostrategic rival controlling almost the entire rare earth and battery supply chain, things would get even worse. By happy chance, however, the Japanese coastline is dotted with one of the largest deposits of fire ice, a methane hydrate that lives under the sea in the world, and if they are able to extract it, which they've been able to do so in small amounts since 2013, the 7 trillion cubic meters of offshore methane hydrate could provide Japan with reliable, cheap domestic energy almost indefinitely. These methane hydrates can be converted to natural gas, it can be converted into e-fuels, of which Porsche is also currently pushing for, and most importantly can be converted into hydrogen that can be used to power electric cars like Toyota's Mirai, or internal combustion cars, which Toyota is currently showcasing in the Toyota Corolla race cars, which have a very similar 3-cylinder engine to the GR Yaris hot hatch that you can currently buy. Now, I don't want to sugarcoat methane hydrate. It's extremely tricky and dangerous to extract, and if methane was to leak, it's a greenhouse gas that's 25 times more potent than carbon dioxide, and it's generally just not very green. But honestly, neither are batteries, and this is a once-in-a-century opportunity for Japan to finally become energy secure. Please let me know in the comments if you think Toyota and Japan are making the right decision, and thanks for listening.